We can't hear you. Who's talking? We can't hear anything.
Oh, sorry. I was talking. Hi. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to week 3 of the Will Mentorship Program.
Good evening.
Hi. So we look forward to an exciting session this week. Today we have Sheyi Bolaji, and she's going to be taking us on a guide to effective communication. I'll just give a little bit of Sheyi. Sheyi is a fellow of the Kashim Ibrahim Fellowship. She won the best graduating fellow under the bronze category. And she's done a lot of work in the private and public sector. But I think that one of the things I admire about her is her dedication to education. And she has founded about 2 projects or 2 initiatives where she runs that. And she currently serves with Stand With A Girl initiative, where she serves as the communication strategist. She has a lot of wealth of experience, and she's someone that I've admired from a distance. We have been close, but we still have been at a distance from each other. So Sheyi, I want to thank you for accepting to be with us here today and speak with us and, just share your wealth of knowledge with everyone. So thank you very much. We appreciate it. And we look forward to learning from you. I do. I see the amazing work that you do, and I look forward to learning from you. So can we just all welcome Sheyi today and give her a round of applause. Sheyi, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome, Mark. Thank you so much for having me. Please, can you hear me? I just want to confirm that. Okay, thank you. So thank you so much for extending this invitation to me, for having me do this. It means a lot to me. So a big shout out to you for the amazing things that you do as well, and for founding this, and also to the co-founder, just to both of you. I'm just really grateful for being here this evening, this afternoon. So wherever part of the world that you're joining from, and maybe morning. So yes, we'll get into what we have today. And we're going to look at a guide to effective communication strategy. So before we get into what we have for today, so to everyone on this call, I'll just say shout out to you. Thank you for listening to me. And forget the whole profile, the whole bio. We're going to be learning from ourselves. It's not just going to be me saying, okay, this is what we have to do. No, everyone is going to be talking, and we're going to be interacting. So it's guide to effective communication strategy. In the comment section, I would just like to know, when you hear effective communication, what comes to your mind? What is that thing that, it could be just one word. So you could just type that. What comes to your mind when we say effective communication? What comes to your mind? It could be a word, it could be a sentence, a phrase, just like that. I want to see that, so I know that we're on the same page and that we're ready for this. Okay, I see clear communication. Yes, thank you so much. I'm still waiting for other people on the call. A message with feedback, clarity. Yes, thank you so much for your responses. Okay, do we still have more? So yes, thank you. All of the responses are correct. We have clear communication, a message with feedback, and clarity. Thank you so much for sharing that. And as we continue, you get to see that everything you said is true, right? And you're very correct. So we'll go to our next slide, what we have for today. And we'll look at understanding the power of communication. Communication is very powerful. Like in all of the things we do, in everything that we do, it's one necessary thing that we cannot do without in life. it is like that life, blood of leadership. I know this is a mentorship program that empowers women, right, young women on basic, let's say, skills, life, and yes, leadership as well. So think of, oh, why do we even need communication? Is it not just normal talking? I talk to people. It's just fine. I mean, there's no need to do more. There's no point to, say that we need to even learn about it. I know communication is if I ask everyone to define communication right now, is what everyone will say, oh, communication is, sending message from this to this. And yeah, maybe you would even add, getting a feedback is what we know really. But we have to move beyond that and be more intentional about it, because it connects us with others really. And through communication, we're able to convey a message. We're also able to, receive feedback, and it helps us, bring about inspiring things. So whatsoever thing that you have to do in life, communication is very important and is essential, and it brings about impact as well. The next slide, please. Thank you. So why is communication special? Why is it special? It's because it's not just about talking. So we could come here and, talk from now to tomorrow. What I'm doing right now is communication, but communication is beyond that. So it's about connecting. It's about, inspiring and influencing others as well. So we use communication to do that. And that's why we have to be intentional about it, really. So in everything that we're doing, like I mentioned, it's just important that we go beyond the regular kind of communication, and we'll get into, just beyond that, beyond the surface communication. We'll go deeper into that. This is just like a form of introduction. Next slide. We're going to be doing some things together. So I like to start my sessions with this to know that I have your attention and we're fine, so that we can all bite our tongues together at the beginning of the session. Thank you. So it's a tongue twister. If you're ready, just with the permission of the host, of course, just on mute and read this to us. Let's go. Who is going first? Oh, I see Blessing's hand. Yes, please go ahead. Let's see.
Okay. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. You say?
Go ahead. We're listening to you.
Okay. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. The shells she sells are surely seashells. So if she sells shells on the seashore, I'm sure she sells seashore shells.
Okay, interesting. Fine. Thank you, Blessing. Thank you so much. So who's going next? Thank you so much. That's nice. Let's have another person go. You can just unmute and then speak.
Okay. Do I go?
Okay, yes, you can.
Can I?
Yes, you can. Yes.
Okay. You should not laugh at me.
We're not going to laugh at me. We're very kind people.
Sally sells seashells by the seashore. The seashells she sells are surely seashells. So if she sells shells on the seashore, I'm sure she sells seashore shells.
Interesting. I mean, that's nice. Thank you so much. Do we have one or two more person and we go? Thank you, Blessing. Thank you, Miss Veronica, for that. So I would call names. I'm seeing Ramatu. I'm seeing Samuel Tui. I'm seeing Happiness, Sani. So if you can hear me, just unmute one more person and then we go into what we have for today. Anybody wants to go? Maybe I should have come with gifts, for people who want to do this, and then would have had more people attempting to do this. Anyone? Okay, maybe we'll come back to do it at the end so we're able to save time. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so we are going to look at different communication style and how that it impacts our interactions and what is the outcome itself. So that's what we're going to be looking at this evening. And then the first one that we have for today. The next slide. The first one that we have for today is tailoring your message. At the beginning, I mentioned that it's important that we go beyond, just the surface about communication. We are, you need to tailor your message to a particular audience when you want to communicate. And why did I say that? For example, when I go to the market to buy something right now, I am not going to be speaking so much of English. Not like I'm not going to speak English. I'm giving an example. So I would not go to the market and probably see a woman or a man who sells maybe pepper or tomato, and and then I'm trying to like speak all the English they taught me while I was on campus. The person is not going to understand me. That's number one. And then in this economy, I would buy that item for like ×3 of the amount I'm supposed to buy it for, all because I'm speaking English. That's like one disadvantage already. So now let's bring it down to, other things that we do. It is not that people don't understand us when we speak to them. Sometimes the problem is from us. It's that we're not able to tailor our message to suit that person. So before we speak, before we communicate with people, it's important that, we know what exactly or who they are, because that is how we're able to get our content and say, okay, if you look at the slide, you see I said tailoring your message is like what? Customizing a dress. Like you have a dress that you want to customize, and then you're making it to suit you. This is Sheyi. I do not like to wear very big dresses, right? So I like small ones. So if I'm going to make one for myself, it's going to be very small. So that's like it's meeting my need. Now it ensures a perfect fit for every occasion, right? So whether you are addressing a boardroom or a community gathering, it's important to, adopt the communication style that suits that particular audience. So if you're at workplace, you know that, this is how to communicate. If you're in the market, this is how to communicate. If you're speaking with your boss, for example, you know this is how to communicate. If you're speaking among your peers, you know that this is how to communicate. So it's really important, and it also helps our content, and would not be misunderstood if you understand that this is who this person is, and I have to understand that this is how to tailor my message to this person. It also cuts across, the different things that we do. If you want to advocate for something right now, and then you just go to the community and you're speaking in a way that they would not understand, or you're speaking to them in a way that you're not supposed to speak to them. And when I say language now, I'm not even talking about you speaking English or Hausa or Yoruba to them. Language that I'm talking about is communicating in a way that they would understand that, this actually makes a lot of sense. This they can understand with you because you know them, you know the kind of things to say. I'll give an example again. For example, in northern Nigeria, I do a lot of advocacy around family planning. So when you go to communities, you cannot say family planning. You would rather say childbirth spacing, because family planning would be a turn-off. So that's me just trying to explain what I mean by tailoring your message to meet the audience. Let's go to the next slide. We'll soon start talking so that all of us know that we're together. Now, the next thing is active listening. And I'm sure you've been doing that from the beginning, because I'm the only one who has been talking. So thank you so much. There's not so much to teach about this because you've been doing that from the beginning. I've been the only one talking, apart from the two people who helped us, do the tongue twister. I think that, this is me thinking. I've not done the research. So that's why when you hear me say I think, it's because I've not done the research. I think that one basic problem that we have in the world now is that we don't listen. And we don't listen actively, right? So even when we're listening to people, what they have to say, we're probably listening to respond to them and not listening to understand that thing which they're saying. And it affects communication, because if you don't listen actively, there's no way you'd be able to understand, this is it. So you are just listening to maybe respond and say, this is it. And that's why it might not really go well. Now, active listening is the cornerstone of effective communication. It's not just about hearing, it's about understanding that in which you're hearing as well. And also, empathizing and responding. That is when it's needed. Because by actively listening to, people when they talk to you, or the people listening to you, you build trust. and then it fosters empathy as well, and it deepens connection. If I'm talking right now and you're also talking, there's going to be a problem. We'll just keep repeating ourselves, and we'll just keep, talking to ourselves in ways that we should not talk to ourselves, because everyone is talking. And it's an aspect of communication that a lot of people do not even talk about, because they feel, oh, it's not necessary really. But there would always be a problem with communication if we fail to listen, and not just listen, but then active listening, because it's important. The next one that we'll talk about before I would now get our comments and then we'll continue again is storytelling. We all know how stories connect us to people. When we're communicating with people, it's important that we go beyond just telling them. 1+1 is 2. When you put B and E together is B. Come here, do this, and all of that. We need to go deeper, because storytelling has a way of, touching people, reaching people. If I want to maybe advocate for something right now, and I go to people, or I go to a community, or I go to policymakers, and I say, oh, okay, this is a problem. I keep speaking English. Now, just, it could be one story that I would tell. It would actually help them understand me better, and they would get the context of what I'm saying, because it is a story that I'm sharing. But we often overlook this in terms of communication. Even for little children, when you have to communicate with them or tell them this is it, you might want to tell them stories. They pick it more, they remember more, people remember stories, and it stays with them. And this is not to say that every day of your life, or maybe you are trying to communicate with that bus conductor and you are saying story, it might not work at every time. So you don't go quote me and say, you said we should be doing story every time. No, that's not what I mean. So what I mean is that, storytelling is important in us, communicating. I'll just like one person to help us read what we have for storytelling. Anybody? Just read what we can see on the screen. Definitely not Blessing and not Miss Veronica. Those who have not spoken today, I'll call names again. I'm seeing Happiness. I'm seeing Samuel Toyin. Yes. Still waiting. Okay, yes, Happiness. Thank you.
Okay. Storytelling. Stories have a magical effect. They captivate, inspire, and linger in our hearts. Harnessing the power of storytelling can elevate your communication from ordinary to memorable. Unlock the storyteller within you and craft compelling tales that resonate with your audience.
Thank you so much, Happiness, for that. Really, thank you for reading that out for us. And I'll just focus on the last part of what you read. We need to unlock the storyteller within us and, craft compelling tales that resonate with our audience, because it's important to do that. Because storytelling have magical effects, like I mentioned earlier. So it takes you from the ordinary to you having, some very good result, because you're able to infuse storytelling into your communication. So it's an effective way of communicating, and it's one of the most effective ways to communicate with people is to share stories with them, or is to tell them stories about that thing which you're trying to explain to them. Thank you so much, Happiness, once again. The next slide. Okay, so this is me checking if we're still together. And this point, not Happiness again, not Blessing, not Miss Veronica. Let me see who is next. Okay, and this is me. Okay, earlier we talked about, I'm just seeing Peck and Crew, complete communication that is understood. Yes, that's effective communication. Thank you for that. So can you find the mistake? Yes, please, you can go ahead. I see someone's hand up. Oh, it's down now. Okay, since nobody wants to speak, those who have spoken before can still speak again. Okay, go ahead, please. I see your hand up.
I can see the mistake is not in the numbers. It's in the article D. There are two Ds. Can you find the mistake?
Could you take that again?
I said the mistake is not in the numbers. It's in the article D. Can you find the mistake? There are two Ds there.
Oh, that's smart. So I already heard, people noticed that as well. Or are you the only one who saw that? I mean, you've called our attention to it now, so it's just as you told us the answer, and yeah. But I see happiness. Yes, happiness. Are you saying something differently from what was just mentioned?
Okay, he actually pointed out what I wanted to say also. I
Oh,
found
okay.
the yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much, Happiness. And yes, thank you so much, Pekanku. That's very true. So can you find the article D is repeated twice. So the mistake is not in the number, it's actually in that article. It's just to check if we're together. And that's also another way of communication. You get feedback in between. You don't wait till the end before you get feedback. If we're still together, please just type and say we are together. Thank you. I mean, and that's the answer up on the screen. You can also check, but I want you to type and tell me if there's one thing that you've gotten so far as we've been speaking, just type it about effective communication. Just drop it aside. We're together. Just let's know so that we get the feedback as we go. Yes, I see we're together. We're together. So beyond we're together, what is one thing that you have picked since we started this before we go to the next slide? But then we can just have the next slide up on the screen. Thank you so much. Thank you for your responses. Thank you for that. So the next one that we'll talk about is, thank you so much, everyone. Unlocking the storyteller in you. Yes, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. We're together, be an active listener, unlock the storyteller in you. Thank you so much. So the next one that we have is authentic connection. Now, authentic, oh my God. So now I have to, breathe in and out. Now this happens to us at every point, or not at every point. I mean, sometimes, yeah. So to be authentic is to use your superpower really, because it sets you apart from others and you earn people's trust and respect when you're authentic. So in communicating with others, we need to be authentic, we need to be ourselves, we need to be genuine, and we also need to be true to ourselves as we communicate with other people. So oftentimes, some people try to communicate in ways that are not really great for communication. They're not being authentic, and that can affect the flow of communication. It can affect how that people perceive what they have to say, right? And how the whole communication thing go. I'll give another example. An example that I would give right now. This is me. This is how I speak normally. So there was a day I was on a call with someone, and I mean the person recently jackpot. At that time, the person has spent like 2 weeks, just 2 weeks. So, and I honestly was not understanding, because I'm like, oh my God, this is not communication. You're speaking, I can't hear you. All in the name of you're speaking English, only because you jackpot in 2 weeks. I don't understand. This is not who you are. I know how I used to talk to you before. So what is the meaning of all of this? I honestly did not speak anything from that conversation because of the way the person was speaking. It was a turn off for me. Even though the person was saying like important things, it was a turn off for me because I felt this person is not genuine. This person is not authentic. And I feel that sometimes we try to do it to show off, especially when we're talking to people that are maybe ahead of us in a way, or we're trying to impress people. It could be maybe in interviews as well, or just, but then people feel it from afar when you're not I don't know, I feel it. And I know that other people feel it when you're not authentic, when you're not genuine. So it can affect how that people perceive that thing which you're saying, and they might not even get anything that you have to say. So it's important to be very, authentic, to be very genuine, because it also helps you build connection with people. They trust you and you have lasting relationship with them. And for leaders, it's important because I mean, you have followers, you have people that you relate to. So it's just important to be authentic in, you speaking to people, communicating with them. It's a very, very important thing to do. Yes. Our next slide. And now we're going to nonverbal communication, right? For nonverbal communication, it's very important because they say that a lot of times it's not about the things that we say, it's about how that our face is when we are saying it. Imagine that I'm on this place and then I've been frowning since we started this. You're like, what is wrong with this girl? Like, if it's not by force, if you don't want to do this, you can just go. Now it's going to send a very bad signal to you, right? Because of how, oh, I'm frowning, I'm not like, oh, what exactly is the problem? Now it's the same thing that happens. So sometimes unconsciously we do that when we're communicating with people, and it sends a wrong message to them. Oh, maybe this person, there's something wrong with this person, really. Oh, this person, there's just, and it affects the flow of communication. It affects the feedback that comes with that. Someone should please help us to read what we have on nonverbal communication, so I know that we're still together. Thank you. Who is going to help us read? Anyone can go. Thank you so much, Blessing.
Okay, so actions speak louder than words, they say, and that is right. Non-verbal cues, gestures, facial expression, body language speak volume in communication. You need to decode the language of non-verbal communication and learn how to align your words with your body language to convey confidence, credibility, and charisma.
Sorry. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for reading that. And I'm sure that as she was reading, you were getting it. The first sentence there says that action speaks louder than words, just like I was explaining earlier. So you could be saying, oh, I really sympathize with you, and then you're laughing. It actually does not communicate what you're trying to say to people. And nonverbal cues as well. We could have facial expression, just like I mentioned, and then there's body language as well. It speaks volume in communication. And overall, like using body language to convey, we use gesture to convey confidence, credibility, and even charisma. It's very important in our communication. Don't look at me. I overdo it sometimes because I cannot speak without having to do my hair like this. I know. But then I'm not saying you have to be me, really. But it's just the way that I connect with people. Now, whether I'm seeing them, this is virtual or it's from a physical thing. For me, it's but then again, when it's too much, there's a problem because it's another form of distraction. So it's just finding the balance in between and knowing when to use it and when not to use it. But it's important to know that to note that it's very important to communicate the things that we're saying through our facial expression, and and then using gesture is very important because people understand more when we do that. Thank you so much. And next slide. Well, so this is a question, and it says that, did you know effective communication is not just a skill, it's a superpower. I mentioned earlier, so by now you know that one. And if you're armed with practical strategies and a dash of creativity, you have the power to inspire, to influence, and ignite change. When you know how to communicate effectively, or when you know that, oh, these are effective communication strategies for me as, a person, it helps you really, because it gives you it just makes you different from other people. I do not know, but I like to relate more with people who are able to communicate and communicate well. Because of what point is it that you're trying to tell me something I'm not understanding, and every day and I'm like, what is it exactly? So, but when we're able to communicate what we have to say to people, it helps us, and then it's a win-win. Yes, it helps us inspire people, right? To also influence them, and it also helps us get better as we, but then it's good that we know what to say, how to say it, and what to do. So from the beginning, when we started about tailoring our message, right, to all of those points that we've talked about from the beginning, when we make use of all of that, it helps us to inspire people, influence them, and it brings about change in the things that we do. Next slide. So if we get to do if we're able to communicate effectively, it helps us to handle difficult conversation. And this is where at the point I would like us to, I'm also checking my time. Okay, I'd like us to unmute. And have you ever had time that you're discussing with somebody, and I mean, it's just going to turn to problem because the person is going this way, you're going this way, and you're trying to say, no, this is it. The person is seeing white, you're seeing black, and there's just a lot of glasgows, and then it's coming and it's coming and it's coming like that. Please just try to share with us, one person, and tell us maybe what you did, how you were able to resolve that. And if you were not able to resolve it, if it ended so badly, tell us too. Anybody can do that. Please tell us. And to those who just joined the call, welcome. We're talking about communication. And right now, this is handling difficult conversation. Yes, please, anybody can help us. Just go ahead. You don't have to raise your hand. You can just speak. Just unmute and speak. Anyone, please? Nobody wants to talk. Okay, I will call names. I am seeing Bolu Atife. That's the first person I saw. That's where my eyes went to. So please help us. Assist us do that. Thank you.
I just joined. Could you please repeat the question? I just even came online now. Sorry, could you please repeat the question?
Okay. Thank you so much. I'll take the question again. And the question is, have you ever had, handling like a difficult conversation? You're talking to someone, the person is not understanding, and you're also not the person is saying this thing is white, you're saying it's black. No, it can't be like this. No, this, that. How were you able to handle that? Did it end well? If it didn't end well, tell us what you did. Yeah, that is the question. Thank you.
This is hot seat though. Okay. Difficult situation.
Yes.
Okay, let me use my experience with my mom. Okay, let me use my experience with my mom. I needed to carry out a project that was last year, and I had to go and meet a friend. So the friend I went to meet, he's a married friend. He's a married man, and his wife was even at home. His wife and his kids were at home, but the wife did not understand that I needed to carry out a project. That was why I came. So she was not thinking that maybe I had something to do with her husband. So she now reported me to her mother-in-law, who is my mom's friend. This is a real life story. Who is my mom's friend? So that it's like me, I'm already eyeing her husband. And she was even at home that day. So she now reported me to her mother-in-law. Her mother-in-law reported me to my own mom. So my mom was not like, they said that what happened, that I just said it's so and so that I needed to submit a project. That was why I went to him, and he's the only one in that environment that I know that. And he even taught me when I was in SS2. He's just like a mentor to me. He taught me necessary. So that was why I went to meet him, that there's nothing there. So it was a difficult situation. I'm telling you, it was a difficult situation because the mother-in-law and the wife, they were thinking another thing. So how I was able to handle it, I told my mom, I explained. When I now explained, and I showed her evidence of the project I'm working on and everything. So since the mother-in-law was her friend, she communicated with the mother-in-law. And I also went to meet the wife that it's not what you think. I'm not doing anything to your husband. It's not what you, this is what happened. I showed the evidence. That was how everything was resolved. And I also learned that if I want to do something like, because it was urgent, And then because I'm not close to the wife, I did not know the wife. It was only the husband that I knew. And the husband taught me when I was in school. I also learned that before you even move close to someone's husband, build relationship with the wife, because the wife, they can go and think something else. Because it was so urgent, and me, I'm not close to the wife. I was like, come help me do something. So you need to build relationship with someone's wife before you go and meet them, that come help me do something, so that their wife will not think, because these days people can think different things, so that they will not say that you are doing something,
Yeah.
that they will not be carrying rumor. So that was how I was able to settle everything. And I also learned along the way. That was the difficult situation I found myself. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing. I mean, this is me clapping. Thank you for, I mean, you just joined the call and you were still able to, respond to that. Thank you very much. Miss Veronica, I see your hand up. You wanted to add something? Or it was a mistake? I know I saw your.
I wanted to,
Okay.
like, I don't know if anybody can remember when there was that dress, the controversy of the dress, and they will say what color was the dress, and a lot of people were seeing purple, some people were seeing blue, some people
Yeah.
pink. It was something really hard. I mean, you have the conversation to communicate with someone and say, no, I'm seeing pink. The person say, no, I'm seeing blue. But at the end of the day, I mean, for me, I was just like, well, we agreed to disagree. I see blue, you see pink. I mean, let's just leave it like that. So sometimes you just agree to disagree.
Really, yes, that's another way again. Thank you so much for sharing, Bolu Atife and Miss Veronica. So to Bolu, I like that, you gave us a solution yourself. The first thing to have done was to find a way
Okay,
to
mine,
communicate
I'm not
with
really
the wife.
sure. Mine is like,
Okay, yes, please go ahead. Where's that? Okay, blessing. Yes.
it's best.
Hello?
A
I can't hear
person
blessing.
that maybe you
Okay.
have.
Yes, I can hear
Can
you
you
now.
hear me?
Yes.
How do you manage somebody you're having conversation with, or you're trying to point out an error, but all what the person is saying is you trying to bring out a point for an argument. The person is
Blessing,
trying
can
to
you?
see what you're trying to explain, but like you're trying to counter what the person has to say, or you're
Yeah, so if I think it was breaking at some point, but I think yours is a question if I get it right.
yes,
Blessing, can you hear me?
yes, I can hear
Said,
you
you
clearly.
said
Can you hear me?
what should you do if you are speaking with someone or communicating with someone, but then the person is trying to, you know, um, bring out fault from what you're saying or something. I don't know if
Yes,
that's
like
right.
the person is making the conversation look like you're trying to fault them, or you are
Oh,
trying to
okay.
just bring a point for an argument, and that is
Oh,
not
I
your
get it.
motive for that conversation.
Okay, okay. I get it now. Thank you. I would respond to that. Thank you for that. So I was saying that thank you so much, Bolu Atife, for sharing. And you gave us a solution. The solution was, to have, like from the very beginning, find a way to go through the wife before speaking to the husbands because they are married. And then if she has, like, the communication at the beginning was with the wife first, it would have just been easy and then there wouldn't be an issue because you've been able to communicate with her to make her understand that this is it. But since that did not even work at the beginning, again, communication was what helped you to resolve the issue because your mom was able to speak to is it a mother-in-law or a mother now? Yes, and then they were able to resolve the whole thing. So it's all about communication and how exactly to say it. Or maybe when she was trying to explain to her, after you had also told your mom, you explained to her, that's communication as well. Oh, this is it. You showed her this is what you had to do and all of that, and the reason why you have to do this. So basically, like before you even join the call, we're just talking about communication, and we're talking about handling difficult conversation. And then Miss Veronica also, talked about the whole color thing. So it's also good to note that and this would also in a way answer Blessing's question. we can be speaking to people and they might not understand, and then it's fine not to agree at some point, because that's why we're different people. We don't see things the same way. I could be saying 6, you could be saying 9, and we'll keep arguing that, I'm saying 6 and you're saying 9. And then it's just from, the angle that we're standing, or from where we're standing, that's what we're seeing. So it's a thing with, and then what I would have to say is that, that way, if, that's the person's problem every time, you might want to have another conversation with the person. I know you said the conversation would lead to this, but let the person know that, this is not your intention. Maybe, and then this would only be said when there is no like, it's already a serious argument, when everybody is relaxed, or it could be when you're playing with the person or something. Let the person know that, if this is not my intention, this is not what I mean, right? This is how I want to. And if the person does not want to listen, maybe you can now send it as a message. Maybe when the person reads the message and later you're now able to talk, because we have to look for ways at which, things work for different people. But I understand that some people, no matter how you try, it's just what they've chosen for themselves. So for such people, you can just leave them. If that is what they want, then you can just do yourself good by avoiding conversation with such kind of people, because they're people like that, and no matter what you do. But if it's something that, that can work, is to let this person know, or find a way, or if it's that you would even tell someone that the person listens to talk to the person. That way, it's also part of communication. Remember I said tailoring your message, knowing what to do, and then speaking the language of the person. Language in this context is not, English, outside Yoruba or Igbo, but then what the person wants to hear, right? So it's important to find that thing and know. When you've tried all of that and then it's obvious that the person is the problem, you can just let the person be, because again, not everybody would be our friend, and we might not be able to relate with everyone. So I think that we've been able to talk about this handling difficult conversation, right? With the question that you asked and all of the things that we talk about. But before we just move to the next slide, I would like to say that it's important for us to think about, when we talk, that there's assertive, communication or assertiveness. There is passive, right? And then there's aggressive, so that we are not aggressively communicating what we're saying to people, and then we think that we're being assertive. Because I feel that we do that more these days, especially with the fact that there's just a lot of these, right? For young people like me, Gen Zs. So it's that, we really want our rights, and in that we're trying to push out and say this, that. We're like, okay, this has to be this, but things do not always work that way. We have to find a way to we have to find a balance and say, this is how well. But when we communicate assertively, you're speaking with so much confidence and with so much respect. But being aggressive is, you can be speaking with confidence, but then you're arrogant, and the person will not understand that which you have to say, right? And to be passive is to just be there. You don't even know where you are. Like, you're not even interested in, all of that. But we must consciously try to, to communicate assertively with people and not aggressively, and not mix the two together. Yes, we know our rights, we know this and we know that, but then it's important to, and I would go to the next one because I'm looking at our time so that we can just run quickly. Of course, technology and digital platforms, leveraging on this to help communication. It's no longer news that it's a digital age, and then in communicating, technology and digital platforms offers a wide range of opportunities for us to amplify our voice, engage with audience, and also to bring about change. So what is that thing which we want to do, or we're trying to communicate? Remember that communication is not just, I'm communicating, or I'm talking to my friend, I'm talking to people. It's also about the things that we do. Now, I keep talking about advocacy, maybe because I do a lot of advocacy. Yeah. So you want to advocate for something, and then you want to let the world know that, this is it. Communication is one way. We have social media, we have different platforms that we can use, and using these platforms, we can enhance our communication impact and be able to reach more people, be able to communicate that which we want people to do, and to make the world a better place. Because overall, I think that when we as people, we should always look for ways to make the world a better place. So even when we are, of course, everyone is a leader, because you have people that that you have to take care of. You have people that you have to relate with, is it at workplace, at home, or what have you. So it helps us even in our leadership journey to be able to relate with others when we make the most use of technology and digital platforms. The next slide. Okay, this is a quick one to also check whether we're still here. Translate this into words. We'll take one person for this. Let's just know that, we're still together. And then you can actually type for others too. Yeah. One person can speak and others can just drop it, can quickly just type and drop it. Yes, 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 yes. Are we still together? I'm just checking in to know. Okay, I'm not seeing anyone. Okay, can you be there at 4? Thank you, Blessing. Can you, and okay, I'm seeing Blessing says, can you be there at 4? Samuel Tony says, can your aunt run at 5? Okay, thank you so much for your response. So because of our time, we just move quickly. Should I say what the answer is? Because no one is here to get it. Should I? Okay, let's have the next slide. It actually says, can you be ready at 5? Let's have the picture again. So we now look at it. Can you look at the can? You be ready at 5? Thank you so much, everyone. So let's go on. We're almost done. Thank you. So this says that you have all it takes. I want somebody to just help us read this. Anyone can actually, not Boluwasife, not Blessing. Aisha is on this call. Yes, Aisha, I just saw your name right now. Can you please help us? Okay, if Aisha is not available, I would look for someone else. Salvation. Yes, I saw Salvation. Okay, Salvation is not available too. Oh, wow. Okay, anybody who wants to help us should please just go ahead. Even if you've spoken before, it's fine. Just read.
Can I?
Thank you. Yes, you can.
Okay. You have all it takes. Go forth with confidence, communicate with clarity, and let your voice be heard. The world is waiting for your leadership.
Yeah, thank you so much. So if at all there's nothing that's, if you don't even pick anything from today's session, it's that you pick this last word. You go forward with confidence and communicate with clarity. Again, at the beginning I asked what effective communication means, and we said clarity. We talked about different things, and if you see some of those things are in here, or most of them, or everything, go forth with confidence, right? Communicate with clarity, and let your voice be heard. The world is waiting for your leadership. And you can do this by, communicating effectively. But then you go with what? With so much confidence, and you communicate with clarity. That's why it's there. So it's not just about communicating, but then you communicate with clarity and let your voice be heard. Your voices, or our voices, will be heard better if we're able to communicate effectively. But if we don't, we might actually just be shouting, and the world would not know what we're saying really. But when we're communicating with so much clarity, with so much confidence, the world will hear us, And then we'll be able to take up, those leadership positions or the things that we want to do or whatsoever thing that we want to do. And so that is why it is good to learn about, effective communication and to communicate well. Again, our reminders of the things that we've talked about today. It's that it's important to, tailor your message to the right audience and to listen actively. Active listening is important. It's part of communication. So communication is not just about speaking, it's also about listening. I talked about infusing storytelling into communicating is very important. And then being authentic connection, it's important. People do not like people who are not genuine. I think so. Yes, but maybe people like people who are not genuine. I mean, it's possible. And non-verbal communication, that is communicating with, facial expression, body language, because this is important. Beyond the things that we say, the manner at which, what our face is saying, what our body is saying is important. And then having difficult conversation, knowing how to, manage it or navigate it is also, incorporating all of those things that we've mentioned earlier, listening, being authentic, tailoring your message to be able to make that, and making the most use of technology because it is very important. Again, go forward with confidence, communicate with clarity, and let your voice be heard. The world is waiting for your leadership. The next slide. You have what it takes, really. Do you have any question? And that's me showing you my very fine face so that you can ask question. But I don't know what time is it that we have left. Do you have questions? If there are no questions, we call it an evening. But I expect questions, and not just questions, but I mean contributions in contribution in general. And then communication is not something that you learn and that's all. It doesn't end. It's a continuous process, and you get to some of this thing that we talked about today. I mean, the approaches might change by tomorrow. It's just staying up or keeping up with what is happening, and developing yourself, getting to learn more on how to communicate with people and going gradually. But effective communication really is a beautiful thing and it helps you. And I would say that effective communication sort of helps you build your self-esteem. If you're able to communicate well, it's just this confidence that you have. You walk into any room, you'll be able to address people there and you say what you want, you get the things that you want. It helps really. I've seen that work with me and a number of people that I know that they're able to use that to get to what they want. So it's important to keep learning about effective communication. Thank you so much, everyone, for having me. We'll take questions and contribution. I don't know if I think I saw Aisha's.
Okay, so
I don't know if that was a mistake, but then I would hand it over to Ms. Veronica because I see that there's only 1 minute that is left.
Yeah, we can extend the time to take some questions. So I see Blessing's hand up. So Blessing, yeah.
okay, so can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so I was going to say the last statement you made. I think communication works hand in hand with confidence, because if there's no confidence, your audience might not even listen because you are not sure what you want to say, or even if you are sure, the charisma is giving you up. Then I was going to ask.
Blessing, are you still there? Am I the only one who can't hear Blessing again?
No. So I think maybe it's network.
Yeah, most likely.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I was going to ask that is there or are there any best practices for communication or best approach for communication?
Okay, that's noted. I think that we'll just take all the questions if we have any questions so that I'll just answer everything at once. And sometimes some questions are related, so it just saves us time. We'll just do it together. But that's noted, Blessing. Thank you.
Does someone else have any question? If you want, you can drop it on the chat box.
Yeah.
But I think you can answer, Shay. And it will
Okay.
get
All right. Thank you. So to your question, Blessing, you're asking if, their best, with the style or approaches or communicating with other people. The truth is, the best way of communicating with Sheyi is tailoring your message to Sheyi's language. So it goes first to the first thing I talked about earlier. Of course, we have steps to follow, lay down rules and all of that. But for people, it's different. The way that somebody that knows you so well, Blessing, would communicate with you, it's different from the way I'll communicate with you. And that's because the person understands you or the person knows how best to relate with you. But again, I mean, we meet people every day, we work with people and we might not know them so well. So how do we, relate with them? What are those things we need to do? The first thing again is to know the people. And I mean, you don't have to even ask them questions, or you don't have to get to stay with them for like 1 year before you know them. But then we know people as we meet them gradually. It's first of all to observe. I think that if you speak to someone like, good morning, how are you? Fine, thank you. In your first 5 minutes of communicating with someone, you should be able to know how to, but this does not work every time again, how to respond to them. I'm sure you've been to offices where you said, good morning, ma, or good morning, sir. And you're like, they just like, good morning. Like, hey, this is trouble. That way, you know that this person, you just have to follow gently, because if you are trying to say without adding please or having not to say mommy or daddy at that point, depending on the person, you might not get anything you want that way. So it's the same. I feel like we're able to feel people's energy when we discuss with them like for a little while and know how to come in. There are people that you want to speak to them that you probably have to say, see, don't do this thing. And there's some people that you have to say, you just have to do this and all that. So it's understanding the people and knowing, how best to relate with them. And then you tailor your message towards that. But whichever way, no matter the kind of people or no matter the kind of person that, that person is. And one good thing or style of communicating with others is, observing a lot, especially when you are trying to get something from the person. Just you don't speak so much. You allow the person do most of the talking because you are still trying to get to know. So when you ask a question, you wait. Active listening works for you at that point because you want to understand who this person is. So you're following through, and then you're not asking so much, or you're not that you're not asking so much questions. You're not speaking so much because you're trying to understand who this person is. And after you understand who this person is, then you're able to come in and say, okay, this is it for you. And if you go further, okay, it's not working well, how best do I relate with this person? It's not going this way. Again, like, go back to all of these things that we've talked about, because sometimes we are even the problem ourselves and not the other person from the other end. So look at it. So how was my face when I was probably talking to this person? Does it feel like I'm angry? Does it feel like I'm sad? We have to take note of things like that. But this is not in any way to say that, I mean, don't do your thing, don't be free. Because remember, I said that's why I talked about, being authentic. Just be yourself. Like, I mean, we have a different personality. Some of us can speak, some of us can be quiet, and and all of that. But whichever way it goes, the best way to communicate with people is to communicate with them in a way that suits them, in a way that they feel respected. And the major thing that I would say that I always tell people is, when you communicate with people, whether it's a little child, whether it's an older person, communicate with so much respect. Give them, I feel like when we respect people in how we're communicating with them, somehow, whether they like it or not, they will calm down because they just see you respecting them, even when they are not respecting you. So they learn from you, really, and you're able to get that. That's just what I would say. And then all of those things we said earlier. Thank you. Blessing, have I answered your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Do we still have questions? Okay, I don't think there are questions. And there are no contributions too. Let me check and see if there's any message. Okay, there's none. Okay, but please, let's remember, to go forth with confidence, communicate with clarity, let your voice be heard. It's very important to do that. I think at this point we are done. Miss Veronica, maybe you should have some contribution, but
Thank
yeah.
you very much. I mean, today's session, for me, I mean, all the sessions have their unique differences, but I think today's session was really, really interesting. I mean, it was really engaging. I loved all the points that you made, how to listen. I mean, one thing that struck me was listen active, like be an active listener. Like you said, most times we're just trying to listen. We're defensive, actually. It's our defensive mechanism. So like we're listening to respond, to defend ourselves. But in listening actively, it's easier for us to be able to hear what the other person is saying and see their own point of view. So thank you very much today. It was really an amazing session. We had so many games and it was really, really engaging, and we really, really appreciate it. Once again, I would like to say thank you very much to my KIF sister for taking out time to join us and volunteer your time, your dedication, putting all the resources together. I'm sure it wasn't easy. I know how it is planning. And then, taking out your time today on a Friday to speak to us. So we really, really appreciate you, and we really thank you for sharing everything with us today. So I want to say thank you. I wish you all the best in all you do, all your endeavors. I pray that you continue getting the strength, the confidence, the zeal to continue the work that you do. And we wish you all the best for the rest of the year. So thank you, everybody, for joining. I hope you were able to learn a lot like we did today. So today is day 1 of week 3, and we have 2 more sessions for the week. So thank you very much, Shay. We appreciate you. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you, Blessing. Thank you, Boluatife. Thank you all for sharing your experiences and, engaging. Salvation, I see you, Aisha. Thank you very, very much. So have a lovely Friday. We'll see you all tomorrow.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Miss Veronica. And thank you, everyone who joined the call. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Stop recording.